Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Brooklyn, and for today's video, we are doing episode 2 of 25 for 2025, a series where I attempt to read these 25 books in 2025. So far, I've read 8 of the 25 books in this challenge. How this challenge works: I will pull a book from this jar, then I will have to acquire the book, whether that is from my bookshelf, on my Kindle, or I get to go book shopping. So without further ado, let's pick our next book. I am very excited for this next book. I had a great time reading our last book, so I have very high hopes for the jar. Let's not try and jinx it. I'm actually very nervous. I always say this in every video, but like I genuinely am, so here we go. Oh no. I am actually terrified of this. Okay. Wow. But I am very excited. I have heard amazing things about this. So the book that I ended up pulling is R.F. Kuang's Babel. I am terrified of this book. I think past me just wanted a challenge, truly. I feel like I've seen so many, not like negative reviews of the book. I've seen a lot of great things about this book, but I've just seen people say that it uses your brain a lot. You know what I mean? It really makes you think when you're reading it. I'm very excited. I'm going into this very blind. I don't really know anything about it, but I'm just pretty sure it follows like this character who is attempting to learn the different languages of the world. I have no clue, but I will let you guys know as I read. I will update you guys once I get started in this book. I am nervous, excited, scared. So without further ado, let's start. Where's your baby, Ben? Where's your baby? Where's your baby, Ben? Hi you guys, I have not yet checked in for Babbel, but I have an update for you guys. I've been listening to it a lot on Audible. That really helped me get into the book. As of now, I'm currently on page 286, 50% through, and I believe it's chapter 16. I am enjoying this book quite a bit. So far, what I've learned is that this story follows Robin, who was saved by Professor Level basically from dying, and he was put into a contract with Professor Level where he'd spend the next 6 years studying and mastering languages. And then once those 6 years were up, he was then enrolled into Oxford, where he would be a part of the program called Babel, where he'd further his education of language and just expand his knowledge further in that way. There's also a magic system in this book, and those who study in Babel have the ability to inscribe and imbue on these silver bars and give them powers. And there's just like a lot behind it because they have to match words together to give it a certain power. And it's just like little things like making a garden more lush, or I think they mentioned something about like stitching or something. It's just little things like that that can improve life. So we basically follow Robin throughout his 4 years at Oxford. Currently, I'm in his last year in the place that I am right now in my book. He's met some friends who are also in the Babel program and who have also come from similar situations with him. So they have a little tight knit group. I love all of them. It's Letty, Victoire, and Remy, and they're all very fun in their own unique ways. The interesting part of the story is that there's a secret society called the Hermes, I think it is. And Robin comes in contact with someone and he kind of gets involved with it. And basically, what that group or secret society does is they try and steal silver bars from Babel. And Robin kind of helped them initially in the beginning because the secret society's whole point of stealing the silver bars is because they believe that Babel, Oxford, and like all of England and like under the crown is honing in the powers of the silver bars and using them just to make like the rich richer and people who are already wealthy more better off. So they're trying to give people in need those silver bars in other countries, especially who are dying in need of food, or just overall just try and better people who are in poverty. Initially, I did not see what the point of this book was. Like, I understood it was like more about the language side of it and it was a historical fiction. It wasn't obviously like romance. It's very different to the books that I typically read, which going into that I knew. So I was mentally prepared for that stuff. But I just couldn't really see what the end goal of this book was until the Secret Society was kind of introduced. And I was like, okay, this is interesting because now we're seeing like a conflict of interest. And Robin is also knowing this. So Robin has this conflict because he recognizes how much power language has and the process of translating from like a foreign language to English, that those people who are transcribing these words are the ones in power because they have the ability to change the narrative of what is being translated. And that oftentimes gives power to the English language because there are not that many people in Babel who study all or certain languages. And that's what makes Robin and his group of friends so unique, is because they've all come from different parts of the world. Their mother tongue is from that foreign place that is not English. So their first instinct obviously is not English. So they are better to transcribe and especially to imbue silver with that certain language. There's also a lot of emphasis on the mistreatment of Robin and his friends because once again, they're not from the UK and they're not white. They come from different countries, and at Oxford, the standard person would be white. So they face a lot of discrimination, especially his friend Remy. And I believe it's Victoire. So we also see that side of the story. And that's another message that R.F. Kuang is bringing to the forefront of this book. Their opportunity to be at Oxford kind of sets them apart from the crowd and gives them almost like a safety net because they don't belong there, but they also do because they know languages that majority of the people at Babel in the program don't know. So they're of use, but the conflict that they're facing as a friend group especially is where they want to be useful. So I like that aspect of the book. I'm enjoying it. I think the audiobook is helping me a lot. Definitely different from what I'm used to, but I am appreciating the book for what it is. I'll check back in with you guys when I'm probably, I'd say like 75% through the book, if not sooner or later. So that is my update for now. I have an update for Babel. I'm currently on page 368. I'm 64% through the book. I have been listening to it on my Audible account and then also just reading it on my phone while I'm at the gym. I really want to finish the book. I feel like I've been reading this for so long, but it actually got really good and interesting. Something major happened. Obviously, I'm not going to mention it because it's a major spoiler, but I'm very curious to see how everything pans out because it's getting very tense right now, and everyone, all of Robin's friends like Remy, Victoire, and Letty, they're all kind of intertwined in what happens. So I'm very curious to see how this plays out. I just wanted to give you guys an update because I'm making it further into the book. It just is definitely taking me a while. Hopefully I make a pretty big dent tonight. I'm planning to read for the rest of the day. It's currently 5:30, so I have no other plans and I'm planning just to sit and read this. Hi you guys, so I have finished reading Babel. I actually finished it today. I read a good chunk of this while I was at the gym walking on the treadmill, and then I just finished it while I was eating breakfast. I was listening to the audiobook as well, so that really helped me get through it. So I ended up rating this book 3 stars. At first I had no idea if I even wanted to rate the book. Like, that's just like the feeling I had in my chest with it, but I decided that 3 stars was pretty good. I had higher hopes that this book would be a higher rating. I'm also kind of like at a loss for words of how to describe describe how I feel about this book. I think I can appreciate the themes and the message that it was trying to relay to the reader. I really did enjoy our main characters and following their stories and their journeys throughout Oxford and in Babel, especially Robin, who was our main character in this book. I loved seeing the way that his ideology and opinions formed throughout the story as he learned more about the life that he was living in and understanding what his potential future could look like and other routes that he could also possibly take. I also really loved the friend group. I loved Victoire, Letty, and Remy. I loved all of them very much. I specifically loved Remy and Robin. I think when they first met at Oxford, it was super sweet and endearing because I think it mentioned in the book too that Robin never really had anyone growing up, like a friend or anything. So I just love that little dynamic. They found their little group of belonging amongst each other. However, I just don't think this book was for me as a reader. I went into it blind. I knew a little bit about it, but I just could not see what the end goal of the book was. So then I had to look on Goodreads and see the little summary of what it was about. And then that kind of made more sense and made me more intrigued because it mentioned the secret society. And then that was introduced in the book and I was like, okay, this is cool, but then what else? You know what I mean? I think I was just expecting some grand ending or issue to happen in the book because it's a historical fantasy, so it does touch on realistic topics like the racism, colonialism. You can see where they're hinted at in the book and how the UK or England and like this story was given all the power and how they're taking resources from other countries. Like that is a big issue. And I sometimes think as a reader, I want to go into like another world and not worry about like real life things. So in my head, I'm like, where's the big like wow factor? It's like, no, that is the wow factor and it's silent, but it is there. So I don't know, like that's why I'm torn on this because it does have a very impactful meaning and issue in the story, but I think I just got a little bored with it because it's just not my style of genre. I did love the writing. I think her writing is really beautiful and atmospheric, and sometimes I did think it dragged on. I felt maybe she over-explained things or just over spoke in some areas, but I also felt it was necessary because there was a lot of information and like knowledge terms in this, so we needed a little bit more of explaining. I just felt like it dragged on a bit and I did not really care too much about the story where it would end up. I did partially wonder like what would happen, but then I was like, I just want this to be over. And that's why I also listened to the audiobook because I didn't have to fully engage with it when I was just listening to it, but I did like the narration style of it and the way it was done, and it was also really helpful when they were doing different translations to different languages and they could explain it. The ending did shock me. I'm pretty sure I put in a clip of me when all of the stuff was happening last night when I was eating dinner. And then today, as I was reading that last part of the book, it just slowly lost momentum and I was like, we were so close to having like this big like crazy ending and then it just stopped. And I also don't really understand or like the way that the book ended. I think it just left it so like bleh. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it should just carry on to like a book 2 to follow the character that it was speaking about. Though how it ended was very realistic, and I think that's kind of where it's hard for me to grasp a liking to it because I'm like, I wanted this big success story and it's not always going to be that, or like this big victory for the main characters because we want them to succeed. So I can appreciate that style of it and how realistic it was. I don't know if I'd recommend this book. I think it's definitely slower. It could put you in a slump potentially. I mean, I did like it. It's not that I did not like it. It's just hard for me to be excited about it, if that makes sense. I think if you like this sort of genre, this is all for you. But if you're not really into this, maybe it's not for you. So I think it's just up to reader's choice and reader's discretion. So that is all for this video and my thoughts and opinions on Babel by R.F. Kuang. Let me know in the comments if you guys have read this book, what you guys thought about it, and if you read any of their other books. I'm really curious to see what your thoughts and opinions are on those. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys all in the next video. Bye.